Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for listening to another episode of Let's Talk 20's. In episode 6 here, I'm with my good friend from high school, Francesca, who I've kept in touch with for nearly 10 years. And in this episode, we did a little bit of a different format here. We did what was supposed to be rapid fire, but as you'll listen into here, it wasn't necessarily rapid fire, but a bunch of just generic questions, general questions, to kind of talk about the 20's and get to dive into Francesca and I's point of view on certain issues. So enjoy, like the video, subscribe. Now, thank you guys again for listening to all these episodes. I'm going to try to upload them once a week, but without further ado, let's get into it. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Let's Talk 20's podcast. I am with a dear friend of mine, probably actually one of my oldest friendships, all the way from high school. I have my friend Francesca.
Hello.
Francesca, how are you doing?
Doing wonderful. How are you?
I am doing great.
You sure?
Like the dramatic pause? Yeah. The dramatic pause. I'm doing pretty good. You just recently moved.
What happened?
Back to around Auburn, right?
Can you hear me?
Hello? Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you went away for a minute. It scared me.
Okay. I asked you a question. My question... It's okay. My question was that I said that you recently moved back to be around Auburn. How was that for you?
I'm extremely glad to be back, but it has been honestly a harder transition than I thought it was going to be. I graduated in 2019 and COVID hit two months later. So my first teaching job was kind of like, you got a job during COVID, you're going to take it. So I moved all the way to South Carolina, which after being, 2 hours away from family for the past 5 years, it was a big adjustment to go from 2 hours to 6.5. So it was my goal over the past 2 years to get back down here. And I really did want to get back to Auburn because that's where all my friends still are, or most of my friends, other than you who decided to go way, way far away from me. And I finally got back down here, but it's been a lot hard. It's been real hard. And I'm not sure why. I don't know if it's because I'm busier than I thought I was going to be, so I haven't really had time to settle. I've been here for a month now, almost exactly, and my apartment still isn't put together, and I feel like that's very unlike me. But I am happy to be back in the long run. I think it's going to be a lot better for my mental health. So,
absolutely. Well, what is for people who don't know you personally, you said you have a job with education. What specifically do you do?
I am an elementary music teacher. My previous school, I worked kindergarten through 5th grade general music. And now I'm actually only going to be working with pre-K through 2nd grade. So I get to work with just the babies, which is really, really exciting for me because it's the age group that I really enjoy more. But another awesome thing that I get to do just by moving here is I'm actually now an assistant director for the high school band. So kind of juggling 2 different things, but it's been really fun so far.
Yeah, that's awesome, especially at that age too, because their creativity, the kids' creativity is starting to come out, and they're really starting to get exposed to music, and you can be really influential in terms of, how they listen to it, or.
And it's
that's awesome.
It's kind of a big responsibility when you think about it, because at this point in their lives, they still enjoy it. And it's like, I feel like if I make, one wrong decision, they're going to hate music forever. So no big deal.
No big deal. No pressure.
Not at all.
Well, Francesca, tell people how we met.
This is one of my favorite stories.
Because I think it's actually pretty funny. Go for it.
I actually don't call Tanner. His name in my phone has been Bobby since the day I've had his phone number, because, and I'll never forget, I have this exact image in my head. We were in marching band together. Tanner had just moved
Yeah.
from Florida, and he was walking out to the band field, and I was walking into the bedroom, and we were crossing on the steps. And I said, "Hey, Tanner," and he said, "Hey, Veronica." And I said, "You know what? You never get my name right, so I'm going to call you Bobby." And so it's been Bobby and Veronica from then until now. And it's funny because sometimes I forget that your name is Bobby in my phone, and I'll search Tanner to like send you a text. And I'm like, "What the heck's going on?" And I'm like, "Oh wait, it's Bobby."
I don't even know why I called you Veronica, because it would be one thing if there was a girl in the band or
No, we didn't
something
know
that I knew
anybody
named
named.
Veronica. No, there was no one named Veronica, so I don't know what that came from.
No, but
Well, and then go ahead, keep
um,
going.
it was just funny because I think you were just a nervous little, because you were what, a sophomore,
I was
freshman?
freshman.
Wow. So I was
Yeah,
a junior. Yes, yes.
yeah,
I'm old.
something like that. Something like that. And then because it was my freshman year, you kind of took me under
I
your wing,
did.
and honestly, we became very close friends over the years. And then you ended up, because you're 2 years older, you actually went to
Mm-hmm.
Auburn, and then I toured Auburn my junior
Mm-hmm.
year, and then fell in love with it as
Yep.
well. And then we went to college
We
together
did.
for a few
And
years.
we always, um,
Don't say it. Don't say it. You don't go ahead, say
you
it.
know, we
Go ahead.
we were all excited about being back at the same school. And how many times we could probably count on one hand how many times we saw each other while we were at Auburn. We were both just
Yeah.
so busy all the time that it was like random. That one, I remember that one random night at Sonic where we sat there for like 2.5 hours because we hadn't seen each other in so long.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, it was really sad because I mean you're seriously one of my oldest
hmm
friendships, and we have consistently, even if it's every once in a while, we can always call each other and talk and catch up, and everything's
which
good.
I says a
And
lot about our friendship.
absolutely, it's not very common
Hmm
nowadays. If you get out of touch with someone, it's a hassle to keep a decent relationship with them
Yeah,
or talk and catch up with them. But never been a
I
problem for
know.
us, and here we are
Here
still.
we are.
Now
Look at
it's,
us.
holy shit, 10 years.
Yeah. Oh, that makes me feel old. Has it
10
really been 10?
years.
God,
Yeah,
jeez.
because I was 14 when I went to high school as a freshman, or 15. So it's been
Wow.
like 9 years, 9, 10 years. Yeah.
Wow. Way to make me feel old.
Yeah. Yeah, you're old as fuck.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Today we're doing something a little bit different. Instead of doing one specific subject, actually, I'm going to kind of ask several, I would say, general questions. Nothing too specific to peg it on just one topic, but obviously still staying on the subject about the 20s
Mhm.
and all of that. So take your time with the answers. It doesn't need to be like a 3-second response, but yeah, well, changing it up a little bit, the format,
Excited.
and
I'm ready.
see how it goes. All right, here we go. First question. What is the main thing that is holding you back right now, Francesca?
Right now, I would say it's my anxiety because that's something I've struggled with since I was like, I don't know, 12 years old. Um,
Mm,
but I'm currently going through a major life change, and even though I know in the back of my head that that's okay, um, I'm still trying to stay in my own little bubble. Um, and I have so many more resources now that I'm back down here, but I don't know if afraid's the right word. I'm like hesitant to reach out to people because I don't know if it's I feel like I'm inconveniencing people or I just need to be able to do stuff on my own because I've been doing it on my own for 2 years up in South Carolina. Um, but I've been having a lot of a harder time adjusting than I thought I would. Um, and it's just with like stupid shit too. Like I'm having like I like lose sleep at night because my living room isn't set up yet because I don't have a couch because the couch isn't getting delivered until August and it's like and then I
You've always been like this.
it's and I have and it's just like my mom she'll say Francesca You need to have one piece of pie at a time. You don't sit and eat the whole pie. I think I've told you this before. Um, and it's just like, but it's like, and then I sit back after I've had, my little pity party panic or whatever, and I'm like, why the hell did I just waste an hour about on that? It doesn't matter. I mean, it does, but not right now. Um,
Right.
so I think the biggest thing holding me back right now is worrying about the wrong things. Like I know my couch isn't getting delivered till August 16th. Why do I keep worrying about it every night? You know, I should be worrying about, getting my license switched over to this new state and setting up a classroom. And it's just like, no, I can't move on because I don't have a couch and my living room is a mess. It's fun having anxiety.
It's better be the best damn couch you
It's
ever
gonna be a nice
will have in your
couch.
life. Yeah.
You spend $1,200 on something. I just want it now. But
Well, if you don't like it, you can send it my way,
okay,
okay?
that's pretty. They set it up. They
If
get
you
it
had
completely
to,
set up in my living room, and I'm like, actually,
yeah,
you
no,
know
it's just
what?
not for
It's
me.
just load it back up. This is the address you're going
Yeah.
to.
I would hate you
Yeah,
if I was the
yeah.
mover. Next question. If you had the choice to accomplish just one thing in your 20s, what would it be?
Wow. Um. Oh God. I just one thing. I'm gonna say. Is it nerdy if I say tenure? Like I want to find. I want to be settled and know that I'm gonna stay where I am. Because you and
That's
I
fair.
are very different in the way that you moved all the time, and I lived in the same house for 25 years. So all this moving that I've been doing has been so hard for me because I don't like change. Um, so I think, I mean, I'm 25. I feel like, and there's the pressure of, what you see on social media. Everybody now is getting engaged, married, popping kids out, and I'm still just me. So I think if I want to accomplish one thing in my 20s, it's be working or living where I'm going to stay for a long period of time. Not necessarily forever, but I want to be settled. Like, I don't want to, like, the past 2 years, it's been, well, I'm not staying here. I don't have any plans to stay in South Carolina. And now I finally made it back to Alabama, and it's this decision of, am I staying here? Am I going to go back to Georgia? Am I moving to Auburn? So
Right.
I I mean, those who know me know that I have to have a plan, and I don't feel like I have a plan right now. I'm just kind of,
And that's
I'm just
okay.
kind of vibing. And it's like you say, it's fine. It's fine. It's
It's fine.
fine.
We're,
It
we're, we're
is
doing great.
fine. She says.
Question numeral 3. If you could give one piece of advice to everyone in the world, what would it be?
Um, do what makes you happy. Um, whether it, this is hard to explain. This is a hard lesson that I've come to learn over the years, and it's just if you enjoy doing something and it's not necessarily what the people in your life think you should be doing or want you to be doing or XYZ, I still think you should do it anyway. Because if at the end of the day, if something brings you joy, you should be able to do it. Um, I get, I've gotten crap almost my entire life from not necessarily my family, but more of people in education trying to make, because at the end of the day, everybody thinks it's about money, right? So I have gotten so much shit throughout my career of, you really want to be a teacher? You sure? Oh, you want to teach music? Is that really what you want to do? One of my best friends in college, his father runs one of the biggest companies in Alabama. Every time he sees me, he goes, "You still want to be a teacher? You sure that's what you want to do?" And I'm always like, "Absolutely." I'm like, "This is what I've wanted to do my whole life, pretty much." Um, I dressed up as a teacher to my kindergarten career day. I mean, come on. Like, um, and it brings me so much joy to see my students be happy and loving music that I can't imagine myself doing anything else. Um, and that's like, it goes outside of career. If you love, you know, what's something random? Like me, I love fish. I have two beta fish. and I love them, and I'm a nerd about it. And people think I'm weird, but it makes me happy. So I'm gonna love these fish till the day they die, which might be soon, but you never know.
Here is such a crazy concept. It's almost like you're it's your life, so you should make your own choices for
Isn't that
yourself.
crazy how that works?
And you, just by having that internal happiness and knowing that what you're doing is actually what you want to
Mhm.
do, you're already ahead of the curve for people in their 20s by well over half. That, half of the people, they chose a career in college or they had a major in college, and either they got into the work field and realized that's not what they want to do, or they stuck with the major that they had because they're like, oh shit, it's junior year, it's too
Yeah.
late to change now, and they're miserable. But you knowing that this is what you want to do and you actually having true happiness out of it is huge.
No, it was
That's
a
awesome.
bitch getting here. I won't lie about it. Like my
Yeah,
my college experience was not the smoothest, but that's okay. Um, and I think looking back now at my whole experience, um, I don't really think I would change much about it because it made me who I am today. But in the long run, like like I said, just do what makes you happy. I have a friend who I'm currently working with who, and all of my stuff's going to be music related, so I apologize, but that's like my life. I have a friend
don't
who I'm
apologize.
working, he's the assistant, he's the percussion instructor at the high school. He went through a full year at Auburn as an engineer, and he absolutely hated every minute of it. And he said, I didn't have any friends. He said, the classes were hard. He said, I went home and I just, I wasn't happy with where I was. And then he changed to music. And he's now, teaching. He's been teaching and he's so much happier than he was doing engineering. Granted, he said today, he said, all I really left was the paycheck. And I'm like, and I think a lot of people today are driven by money. And that's just the sad reality of the world we live in now. Um, but I don't think anything should hold you back from doing what you want to do. And
Absolutely.
no,
Yeah, absolutely. Next question. Is your 10-year-old self proud of
I
you?
don't think so. I mean, ten's what grade? Oh god, I should know this. I'm an elementary school teacher.
Was that fifth grade? Sixth?
Third?
No.
No, fourth. Anyway, elementary school.
Yeah.
I think they would because when I think back to when I was 10 years old, I mean, I'm the youngest of four. I was always striving to be like my siblings. And I think today, when I look at who I am so proud of the identity that I've created and just being myself. Because, I mean, I think most people today will struggle with comparing themselves to others. And I mean, that summarizes my childhood experience to a T. I was always, and it doesn't help that social media pretty much was created when I was young. So it's like you
Hmm.
see everything that everybody's doing and you want to be them, you want to compare yourself to them. And I had friends growing up that had extremely different family situations than I did. Like one of my best friends through elementary, middle had like this big mansion and had the perfect family. And that just wasn't me. um, but knowing how much I struggled with, like I told you earlier in the podcast, I been dealing with anxiety since I was like 12 years old, um, and I feel like I have mostly a handle on it now. I mean, I definitely don't cry as much as I used to. My family would probably argue differently, but um, I don't know. I feel like some days I'm not proud of myself now, but I think in the long run, if I look at all I've accomplished, I'm extremely proud of where I am right now.
Well, you should be. You should be very happy. You should be very happy with
I
yourself.
try.
Next question. How could you be a better friend to people?
You know, I this is something that I have always struggled with, and I always like get so I don't know what the word. I throw a pity party for myself because no one's talking to me. But then I sit back and I'm like, you know what, Francesca, the road goes both ways. I can reach out to somebody. I could send a text. I can call somebody. And that has always been something I've struggled with. And I think it really has affected my friendships growing up because for some reason, whatever it is, I always expected people to reach out to me. So when they didn't, I would get all upset and then like people would hang out without me and I'm like, why do they hate me? Um, so I think being a better friend would be reaching out to people more, um, and just not expecting everything to come to me. She says, talking to her friend who she's known for almost 10 years.
Yeah, no, that's I would agree with that. Uh, that's that's definitely something I could do too. But also at the same time, I was kind of trained to like out of sight, out of mind. When I moved, it was just easier to
Yeah,
not talk to people. So that kind of translated to like
right.
my current
Yeah.
friendships, especially when I lived somewhere so long, it was so foreign to me. I was like,
Well,
what
and
am I supposed to
I
do now? I'm
think
used to leaving
I
people.
think it was hard for me when we started going through all these life transitions. Like one of my best friends, elementary school, went to a different middle school. And that was one of the hardest things for me. But we fell out of touch so quickly because we just stopped talking. And I look back now and it's like the people that I thought in high school that I was going to be friends forever with, I probably haven't talked to since the day we graduated. Just
Mm,
because they didn't reach out, I didn't reach out, and it just now I
fizzled
only see
out.
them on Instagram, like it's just crazy to think
Shout out to
about.
them.
Yeah, you do. They're engaged. Have a great life.
Oh my god.
90% of
All
my
right.
Instagram feed is engaged, so it's fine.
Right.
Fine.
Right. I'm starting to see that too on my feed. It's kind of
It's
crazy.
whatever. I'm not having a quarter life crisis. I'm fine.
What's the deal breakers for a relationship for you?
Well,
I know there's a long list, Francesca, so narrow it down to like
I've had some
one or two,
doozies.
okay?
I've dated maybe three people in my life. I was not the girl in high school who had boyfriends. The first boyfriend I had was my senior year, and we all know how that worked. Um, Shout out to Tanner for answering the phone at 1 a.m. Um,
You're welcome.
I think in all the relationships that I've had, them not being many, every one of them has failed because of lack of communication. And I think me being the anxious mess that I am, I go overboard with communication. And I think that's seen as clingy when in reality it's just me being who I am. Like if I
Yeah.
text you four times in a row, it's because my brain's going at a million miles an hour and I have four different thoughts. So I send you four different texts. Um, and I'll never forget the guy I dated for 6 months in South Carolina. One of the biggest fights we ever had was because he wasn't answering his phone and he just showed up at my house and was all pissed off. I was like, you haven't talked to me in about 8 hours. You could have been dead. And she just show up at my house and get mad. Like, am I the only one who
Oh my
thinks that
god.
way? Like, I don't know. Unless you tell me that you're gonna, like, the guy I'm talking to now, he tells me, he said, like, he'll say, I'm not gonna be on my phone today, but I'll text you when I can, or I'll text you tonight. It's one text. It's a simple thing. You
Yeah.
drop off the face of the earth. I don't and think about the world we live in today. I don't know where you are. So I think communication is my number one thing. And also just because of who I am as a person, if you don't tell me, if you don't explain a situation, or if you don't tell me this is what I'm doing, and you just fall off, I think I've messed everything up. I think I've ruined the relationship. You're gonna break up with me because that's just how my brain works. And I don't know, there's probably some deep trauma there somewhere, but we're not gonna get into that. Um,
Shout out to
we
anxiety, you real one.
love it. We love it. Um, and I don't. Think about it. There's probably some connection with the way my parents were growing up, and
Right.
it's just, I just need you to just talk to me.
You need a lot of reassurance, and there's nothing wrong
I
with that.
do, and I
Communication and
I always
reassurance.
feel bad for expecting that, and even though I shouldn't, like,
Nah.
and something that always gets people mad when I'm, whether I'm in a relationship or I'm talking to my sister, is that if I'll ask you a question, and I'll be communicating and we'll be talking, and then I'll say I'm sorry. And they're like, "Why are you apologizing?" I'm like, I don't know. I thought I irritated you by asking that question. I'm sorry. And they're like, "Stop." I'm like, "Sorry." And then you just keep saying you're sorry over and over again. You can't get out of that vicious
Wait, you're
cycle.
sorry for being
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah. So
Yep.
I just need somebody to talk to me. Just communicate.
Yeah. I don't think that's too much to ask for someone to talk to if you want to be in a relationship. Do you love yourself? And did you used to not love
Oh
yourself?
God.
Oh, this is a rapid fire question, by the way. It doesn't need a
Hmm.
you don't need to dive into everything about it, but
Myself now, yes. Do I still have days when I don't? Of course. Did I used to? No. Um, One of the biggest things I struggled with for my whole life is self love and self confidence. And I still have my days where I struggle, but I've definitely gotten a lot better. And I think that has a lot to do with the kind of people that I've surrounded myself with. Um, you know, but
yeah.
we won't get into that because that's a
Yeah.
whole
That makes a huge
that's a
difference
whole
of who you
podcast
surround yourself
episode in
with.
itself. Good lord.
It is. That definitely. Definitely.
Oh lord.
What's a misconception people have about their 20s?
I definitely think people assume that once you hit your 20s, life's gonna fall into place. I
Mm,
think that's the lie that we've been told our whole lives. Like, as soon as you're an adult, once you finish college, blah blah blah. And I'm sitting here 25 years old, and I still don't do my own taxes. Like, I still call my dad for everything. I still, need help all the time. And some people out of college don't even know what they want to do for the rest of their lives. Like, you graduated college at what, 22, 23?
yeah.
And like my sister, my oldest sister, she got a degree in English. She paid out the wazoo to get a degree in a language she already spoke. It's fine. Um, she had no idea what she wanted to do when she finished college. And she ended up taking a
Yeah.
job that she didn't want. And she just now, think about it, my sister's turning 30 this year. My sister just now got a different job. She had been working that job since she got out of college.
What an
I know.
idiot.
And the
I'm
funny
just
thing is
joking.
she's probably the smartest out of all
Mm.
four. It's fine. We love Julia. Um,
Well, she's not alone. A lot of people do it. Like what we just said previously was that like a lot of people stick with their degree in college because they think
mhm.
it's too late to change, or then you get stuck in the work field, and
Yeah,
then it's even worse. You think, oh, there's no way I have to stick with this work field because I'm 24, 25, 26,
mhm.
etc. Even though I don't like it, I'm kind of
Yep.
stuck. So yeah, absolutely. I would agree with that. That's probably the main one for
Because
me
I
too, is
know
I've come
I
to
know
learn.
that's exactly how I felt when I started college. I was like, okay, by the time I graduate, I'll be in a stable relationship. I'll have a career plan. I'll know where I'm going to live. I'll be, popping out babies by 25. Wrong. Lies. Look at me. Granted,
Well,
I may
and
have it a little easier than a lot of people. I mean, other than the curveball of COVID, I'm doing what I plan to do. The only
right,
struggle that I really had coming out of college was where was I going? And then I ended up getting stuck somewhere where I didn't know anybody, and I worked for 2 years at a school that was not the best. um, and it took me 2 years to get out of it. Like I can't imagine staying if I hadn't gotten this job. I
mm,
can't imagine being stuck there because it's not what I wanted to do. And so now I feel like that I moved back, I'm starting over, which I kind of am.
that's
I kind
awesome.
of am. So
Yeah, you kind of are.
kind of.
What has been your biggest lesson so far in your 20s?
You know what's funny is I wrote the same question for you.
Ooh,
Ooh.
well, then you can ask me after you
My
answer.
biggest lesson.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought about this as I wrote it for you, and I forgot what I was going to say. My biggest lesson in my 20s. Well, I'll pin this to a specific point, and I know you and I have in private have talked about this a lot. My junior year of college was a nightmare. Was a nightmare because it was the point of my college career where my friends went one way and I went the other. And that's okay. Like, that's perfectly fine and normal. But when you go through 3 years with the same people and then all of a sudden you're not going to be with those people anymore, it's kind of scary. Um, so the biggest lesson I've learned in my 20s so far is it's okay to be alone. Um, and I
That's
think,
huge. I
well,
like
and I
that one.
think about it between having friends or a relationship or just being near people. I think are so afraid because of the way society is that it's a bad thing to be alone. It's a bad thing to do life on your own. So that moment for me where it was, okay, all your friends are going to internship, you're not. And it was just me. It was back to me. I was probably in one of the darkest places I had been in a long time just because I didn't know how to be alone anymore. Because I
Yep.
had been with these people for 3 years and it was all of a sudden like, well, shit. And I went through and granted, I still saw those people every once in a while, and I'm still very good friends with them. But I went through from that point to the end of my college career, even to now, I've been doing everything by myself. And that was a huge adjustment for me. Because also look at the way I grew up. I'm the youngest of four. I was never alone. Are you kidding me? So by the time it happened to me again, I felt like it was my sister going off to college again. Like I was like, I'm alone. I don't know what I'm doing. I hate it here.
Yep. Yep.
But I mean, I made it out. And I probably made it out better than I would have if I had been leaning on those people, if that makes any sense. Because I was relying
Absolutely.
on myself more and coming more into who I am as a person. And looking back on it, yeah, it sucked. But nothing in my life, I mean, you know me in high school, nothing in my life has really ever been easy. And I think you and I are similar in that fact. So it's like it's almost kind of
Yeah.
like I hit that point in junior year of college and I was like, well, it's just kind of par for the course for Francesca. But I didn't let it kick me down. I kind of came into my own and was doing life by myself. And now I'm okay doing life by myself. I mean, granted, I
Yep.
don't want to do it forever, but I know that I can.
Yeah. I would say that would be well, two things for me. Definitely number one is learning to be best friends with
hmm
yourself because until pretty much my senior year of college. It's amazing how we don't realize we distract ourselves and never. We're not very often by ourselves. We're normally around people. Like you have your roommates, you're in a class with other people, like just in the presence of others.
Hmm.
Um, and then um, moving up here with my mom, the only people I knew is my family and my
Right.
girlfriend. And while she was in school, all I was doing was working, and I didn't have any friends up here. So I that was a pretty big adjustment in that regards to learn to be best friends with myself and be okay being alone,
Hmm.
like you said. And then the other thing is the word that's tatted on my left bicep, which is Sonder.
I did not know that. You did
And
not tell me that. I
that
wish I
what?
tattooed that said that.
Oh yeah. Well, I have two
Well, I know
tattoos.
now.
It's the one on my right and yeah. So Sonder's been on my left bicep for I don't know, 2 years or something like that.
Way to share with your bicep.
And
Fine.
well, I just if you saw me in person, you would see it. Well,
You
kind of. It's
saw
kind
me
of hidden, kind of not.
Kentucky for crying out loud.
Yeah. Well, you were in South Carolina, so fuck you. So the word, if you don't know what the word Sonder is, it's the realization that every passerby in your life or everyone that you see is living a life as complex as yours.
That's deep.
So yeah, and there's layers to it, but essentially, what I'm trying to say is that you shouldn't judge a book by its cover, and everyone is going through their own shit, and it's very easy to live in, um, for me to live in Tanner's
Hmm.
world and think that oh, the world's against me, blah blah blah.
We
Everyone's
all
going
hate
through their own
you.
stuff, you know? Right? Exactly. Yeah, yeah.
We all hate
Everyone's,
you, Ryan.
um,
Love you.
exactly. I figured. Um, but I think that's huge too. I think that mindset change and kind of making me more empathetic towards people has really opened the door for
Hmm.
me to um, build more relationships with people and ultimately just kind of have a more positive outlook on life instead of being a pick me and being so negative about my own life.
Well, and I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think one thing that to me seems like really helped you get to that point is that, unlike me, you aren't really on social media that much. Am I correct in saying that?
Yeah, I would say
Because
so.
like, and you've always been that way. So I think I've struggled because I'm always comparing myself to others. Because I'll go on Instagram and I'll go on Facebook and I'm like, well, look what they're doing. Good for them. Why am I? Why do I suck so much? Um, and
Yeah,
I think it's good to just it's so good to just be by yourself sometimes. And
it
it's just
is.
I think people need to do more of it, honestly. You
Normalize
know,
it. Normalize it. I mean,
like you don't
when
have to be an
you're
introvert to like be alone. Like you could just
right,
be a human and just want to be by yourself.
absolutely. Absolutely. And then once you have that freedom with yourself, it really helps with your self
Hmm.
confidence and self awareness, and just overall, you just feel better. If you love yourself, you're gonna have that love for others
Right.
too. I don't know. It sounds cheesy,
Yeah.
but all right. Next question. This isn't very rapid fire, by the way. I'm gonna change the title to just general questions with Francesca.
No, the title is talking to the best person on the planet. There's your title right there.
That's right. I'll make it that title. Next question, Francesca. It's a two parter.
Uh-oh.
So, what is something you did not value in your teens that you value now? And then the second part is the opposite of what is something you did value in your teens that you do not now. So you can choose which one you want to do first, but
Something that I hold on, let me something I didn't value that I value now. Correct?
correct. Yeah, we'll start with that
Time.
one.
I had
Word.
so much time in my teens, and now I look at myself and I'm like, there are not enough hours in the day. Granted, I have a very full plate right now, but
Yeah,
I, oh my gosh, like, well, I think about how much I would complain as a teenager about being bored and not having anything to do. I wish I could go back and be like, honey, buckle up. buckle the fuck up because you're not gonna only not be bored, you're not gonna have time to breathe. Like I don't think I've had I have been nonstop since I started college. And it's only getting worse, you know? And something that I
I'm sorry, did I stress you out by asking that question?
no, it's
That
all
sigh was
stress.
just
Funny because where I'm sitting while I'm talking to you, I have all my calendars above me and like my assignments, and it's fine. Look
nope.
down.
So next
It's
question.
fine.
What is something you did value in your teens that you what is something you did value in your teens that you do not now?
It's a little trickier because
Yeah.
what I did value then that I don't value now. Hmm. I want to be shitty and say friendship, but like because
Yikes.
let me explain it. I'm not talking.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not talking about you.
Go ahead. I'm very curious about this one.
So you knew me in high school. You knew the people I hung out with. I was so concerned about impressing them and being the version of me that I thought they wanted that I feel like I lost myself in high school and then I found myself again in college. Does that make sense?
Mm.
It's not
Yeah,
that
I
I'm
can
an
summarize that. Is that you're being fake?
yeah, yeah, for
Is that what
sure.
you're saying?
And I'll straight up say it. Like the people, and I'm not saying that they're bad people, but they were different than who I knew I was, and I changed
And who
myself
told you that
for
in high
them.
school?
Taylor Perry.
Right? Who said this in the moment? Interesting.
Tanner
Interesting.
Perry did.
Um next question.
You're such an
What is
asshole.
something? Yep, yeah, I get that. What's the thing that men in their 20s don't understand about women? And
Oh,
please rapid fire. So I know there's a
not
lot. I get
every
it.
woman wants to get married right away. I've talked to a
Ooh.
lot of guys who are like, well, I'm not really looking for a relationship because I'm not ready to get married right now. I'm like, who says I'm ready to get married right now? Like, I think a lot of guys are traumatized by the whole ring by spring college thing that we especially now goes around in Auburn. Not all of us
Yeah,
are in it for just getting a big rock on our fingers, you know? Some of us actually want to build a relationship. So
that's crazy.
that's all I have to say about that.
Uh, okay. Well, that was quick. I like that one. As a woman in her 20s, Francesca,
Hmm.
what advice would you give to teenage slash high school Francesca?
Um,
Gotcha.
um, give advice to teens. It's not. I want to say this. I'm an educator. I feel like I shouldn't be saying this. If you know college isn't for you, don't go. Like if you think your calling in life is somewhere that you don't need to go to college, don't stress yourself. Like do well in school, obviously, but don't stress yourself out to try and take all the AP classes like your friends are and do all this. If you know in your heart, I don't need a degree for what I'm doing. I can go to trade school or I can, do whatever. Because I think a lot of people in high school stress themselves out because they think they have to be like everybody else to go to college. College isn't for everybody, and I've always said that. My parents said that to me growing up, and I think that's something that teenagers need to be more aware of. Like, yeah, in school you're
Yeah,
told you need to do well in school, you need to take all these tests, you need to go to college, XYZ. It's okay not to go to college. You are not any lesser of a person just because you don't have a degree. It's a piece of paper at the end of the day.
100%. 100%. And then on top of that, you hear about a lot of the success, I can't talk,
Take your time.
success stories right now that they didn't go to
Yeah.
college, or the path that they took isn't what people would consider the traditional or linear path to get to
Hmm.
where they are. So yeah, I would say that's very true. A lot of
Everybody's
people,
different. Like we all have to
yeah,
take the course in life that works for you. So,
absolutely. Francesca, go ahead and ask the questions you have for me. I'm ready.
are you sure?
Absolutely.
All right. First one is the goals that you are chasing currently. Are you
Uh
chasing
huh.
those for yourself or for others?
Oh, oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I'm 100% doing it for Tanner,
Good. That's the
and
right answer.
um, yeah. I mean, yeah, yes, I'm doing it for myself.
There you go. Rapid fire. Well
I'm
done.
trying to give an explanation, but rapid fire.
We suck.
That's
We
it.
suck at
Next
rapid
question.
fire. Anyway, handle failure.
How would I handle
How do you
failure?
handle failure? Yeah.
How do I handle failure? I handle failure. Um,
Failing and then
uh,
quitting.
no. I've definitely failed before. I handle failure by taking it as there's a reason why I failed, and that is okay. But to understand why I failed and to kind of get a lesson out of it, I think is something I used to not do. I think if I failed, I'll just say, "Oh man, I suck. I
Yeah.
failed," and then just like try to move past it, or get my mind off of it. Which ultimately, if a similar situation comes up and you didn't change or help yourself to not fail in that certain scenario, then you're going to fail again. So I would say kind of turning it into a positive. Experiencing the failure is completely fine. You don't need to suppress it in order to move on. So just process it. It is.
Well done.
Thanks.
All right. Same question you asked me. I don't think you answered it.
You can't do
Okay.
that.
Well, fine. Fuck you.
No, I'm just joking. I was just thinking, what was the question?
um,
What's the question?
your what is your biggest thing you are proud of that you've accomplished so far in your 20s?
My biggest accomplishment that I've accomplished.
Wow.
Okay, okay, okay.
Whoa. What are you the
Whoa.
most proud of? There, I'll simplify it.
Uh, what am I most proud of? I think I'm most proud of doing what I want to do,
Hmm.
and in my early 20s slash going into college, I was doing what I thought I wanted to
Yeah.
do. And in the moment, I was 100% all in.
Hmm.
Um, but at the same time, I didn't realize part of it was because I told people this is what I wanted to do,
Yeah.
so they kind of expected me to follow through with it.
Yeah.
Whereas now, like this podcast, for example, this was my own thought that I put into
Yeah.
fruition, and um, you know, it's just stuff like that, making my own decisions, doing my own thing. I think is the thing I'm most proud of, if that makes sense.
Well, I'm proud of you too.
Oh, thanks.
Alrighty, I've got a few more here.
Uh huh.
What? This is kind of
You see what I'm doing, by the way? This is rapid fire.
okay. You know
I just
what?
want
I'll hang up. I will leave.
to. Thanks, guys, for listening to the podcast.
All right. What
Okay.
has been the biggest life lesson of your 20s?
No, that's
Yes,
no. Uh,
because I know you've. I
my
know you've
biggest life
had a
lesson.
few of them.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a tough
I know
one.
it is. You told me. You literally texted me
Okay,
and said,
okay,
and I
okay.
quote,
Here
you
it is. Here
said,
it is.
"Ask me deep
Hmm.
questions."
I'm all in.
Okay.
My the okay. Here's what I'm gonna say. For me,
Don't hurt yourself.
for me, it is so hard to or it was so hard for me to realize where I'm
Mm-hmm.
at, pat myself on the back, and say good job, because we are so future driven. And I said this on the last episode with Josiah, so I hate to repeat myself, but I think it is really important that we're so future driven that where we are right now is what um, Francesca and Tanner 2-3 years ago hoped and dreamed to be at. You know, like while you're still in school, you're just hoping to get a job out of college and all that, and then you're in South Carolina and you may not be happy with the job, but you made it. You got that job
That's fair.
in the career field you wanted to.
I never really
So
thought of that.
enjoying the present, kind of not being so future
I'm really
driven
bad at
and
that.
focusing on
Wow.
what's next.
You saying all this, I'm like, wow, I suck at that.
Well, maybe if you listen
Mm,
to
the
the
Let's
podcast, you
Talk
would
20's podcast,
know.
shameless plug.
What
I got
else you
one
got for
more.
me? Okay.
One more. What has been your biggest motivator throughout your 20s?
Oh.
Mm-hmm. It's
My biggest motivator,
you can just be
besides you, Francesca, uh, my biggest motivator is definitely going to be um, realizing that we only have this one shot.
honest.
Well, supposedly we only have this one shot, and I'm not going to get younger. So all the decisions I'm making now and everything I'm doing now is stuff I can't take back, and it could influence my future. So kind of realizing that if I only got this one shot, I'm going to try to make the most of it and be the happiest person I can be, and just be the most at peace that I can be. And then everything else will follow suit. You know, the money, cool, great. I've been broke for 4 years. I could be broke for another four. Um, you know, the relationships I have with my friends and family and girlfriend and everything, like that's what matters. Um, so yeah, that's my biggest motivator. It's just trying to make the most out of everything that I currently have, and bada bing, bada boom.
Money.
Oh,
If money motivated me to do all the stuff I wanted to do, I'm in the wrong career path.
well,
It's fine.
there's more
That's what I'm
happiness
saying. I think
than
the
than
biggest motivator in
money.
everybody's life should just be chase what makes you happy.
It's just happiness. Like, yeah, yeah. That's all it boils down to.
Mm-hmm.
Are you happy with yourself?
Yep.
Are you happy with your relationships you have with others? Yes and yes. Well,
You're
then
good.
you're good. You can go through anything and still be okay at the end of
Yep.
it.
100%.
Um, well, cool. This quote unquote rapid fire.
You know,
It was cool. I like
you
I
should have
like
known
asking
who
all
you're dealing
these
with and known
broad
that I wasn't going
questions.
to be rapid about anything.
It's completely fine. I actually had a lot of fun doing this
I enjoyed it.
format, kind of asking general questions.
Yeah. Yeah, no
Well,
pressure or
cool. Well,
anything.
thank you so
You're
much.
welcome.
No pressure. Thanks for coming on, and it's always great to talk with you and
No,
just kind of get to see how your mind works, because it's stuff
it's
that
crazy. I
isn't
never.
necessarily brought up in casual conversation.
No. All right.
All right, cool. Well, I think we'll wrap it up here. We're about at an hour now. So thanks for being on this episode. Guys, thank you so much for listening once again. I'm going to try to upload once a week. I know I'm a little behind right now, but I'm going to try to do one episode a week. So thanks again for listening, and we'll catch up with you guys soon. Peace.
Bye.